Can you describe what it's like to be autistic?
Not really. I think because it's part of who I am. I was born with it. It's like asking a neurotypical to describe what it's like not being autistic. It's
Just something that you are.
yeah, it's there. It's a part of my brain. It's the building bricks of it. So I don't know any different. Yeah. So no, I don't think I can.
When were you diagnosed?
10 years ago. So 2011, when I was 17, after being sectioned a section 2. Yeah, I was diagnosed in there.
What difference did it make to your life to be diagnosed?
It gave a lot of, not answers, but reasons for the things I struggled with, sensory issues, anxiety, all that. Because I was also then, at the same time, diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. So it gave answers. For me at the time, I didn't realize that, because I was ill, really ill, in an asylum or a mental health hospital. But for my parents and my family, I think it had a bigger impact for them because now they knew, why I did things a certain way, and it was a lot of answers for them.
So was it always very pronounced that you were quite different?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Before being diagnosed, my mother and my family would, whenever they were, oh, why does Jack rock back and forwards, or why does he flap his hands? They say, oh, that's just Jack. So then when I got the diagnosis, it gave a reason for why I do that. Why I flap my hands and pace around and, have a meltdown when I've got sensory overload, stuff like that.
So you do Stim?
Oh, yeah.
How would you describe stimming?
It's vital. Vital to my survival in public. Because if I don't, I'm just, my head's going to explode. Because the whole act of stimming, whether it's just sort of like doing that, or it gives me an outlet to control my anxiety, to control my sensory issues, and it's that sort of repetitive movement. So it gives me something to focus on. Okay, it may look a little odd for a grown man, in his mid-20s, to be flapping his hands or, rocking backwards and forwards, but it's important. It helps me control it. And I don't mind. I'll stim, and I'll stim when and where I want to.
What's your favourite Stim?
Ooh. I think right now is I sort of do that. So I'll sort of do that, or with maybe a finger or two, because it's less obvious than a sort of, I'm doing that, flapping my hands or sort of beating my chest on my head. It's like a covert way of stimming. It can look like just like a fidgeting or like a restless sort of thing, or tapping as well.
What does it feel like to have to change it in order to fit in with other people?
It sucks. Well, me having to change my stimming, or not even having, feeling like I have to, I should specify that because I don't. And it happens to everyone, whether they're neurotypical or autistic, or neurodiverse mentally or whatever. There's always that thing within society that they feel like they have to change to fit in, or change for someone else that, you know, they don't. They could just be themselves, but it's a thing that everyone does. And I've had to, and it sucks. But when I'm very stressed, very anxious, that's when my old behaviors will come out, my old stimming. So I will start to beat my chest and hit my head, and which can look very odd when you're standing in an aisle in Tesco's. You know, just a lone 6 foot odd, 6'4" bloke doing that. It looks like he's mad.
What is other people's reaction to you stimming in public?
Just funny looks, they'll look at me and go, oh, which is understandable, because if they have no idea of autism, they don't know me, so how could they know? Unless they have a personal experience with autistic people, then yeah. But funny looks, although just avoid me. I've had people start to walk down an aisle, see me, hitting myself or whatever, and they'll turn around and go back up. They'll go to a different, and they'll wait for me to go, or they'll cross the street, avoid me.
What does that feel like?
Terrible. Having been sectioned because I was a danger to myself and others, and how I hated that. When people avoid me, it's feeling that sort of people labeling me as dangerous and avoiding me, and I hate it. It makes me feel really bad about myself. But again, once I look at it logically, and especially if it's with parents with young children especially, I understand a lot more, because they either don't want to have to explain what I'm doing to their child, because that's difficult. They're a child, they can't, they may not be able to comprehend, or it's just because they don't know if I'm dangerous and they just want to protect their kid. That I understand far better, and I've got more sort of sympathy and empathy for them. So there, I kind of prefer it if it is a mother or a father with a young child, because I'm like, right, okay, it's about the kid, not me, not me mainly. But now, it's weirdly people are a little bit more understanding. I've never had an altercation with someone. I've never been verbally abused or anything. It's just people look at me and go, oh, okay.
What's your experience with mental health services?
I've been with them in and out since I was 4 years old. I've seen an educational child psychologist, school counsellors, teenage sort of psychologists and what have you, young adult sort of thing, and then the asylum, and then CAMS before that, early intervention team. So many. I've been passed around, passed through the meat grinder of the mental health services in this country, and being suspected of being schizophrenic or other psychosis related disorders, which hasn't gone away even after my diagnosis. I've been tested several times afterwards, in and out of different hospitals. I mean, as the latest 2 years ago, 2019 was the last time I was tested for a psychosis disorder.
What do you believe it is?
I believe it's my imagination and my perception of things that other people cannot, oh God, it's going to sound arrogant as hell, but cannot understand and cannot perceive. So with my imagination, it is very vivid, very powerful. It is always there. I could have spent half of my life in my head, sometimes more, because I can travel to different worlds. I can create things of horrific, looking monsters and people and stuff like that I can see how it could come across with some psychologist or psychiatrist, because if they cannot comprehend it, then they're going to think it's a psychosis. And also, they're really bad at asking questions. Do you hear voices is one that I know we've talked a lot about within the groups. You take, if you take things literally, then you're going to say yes, because technically I'm hearing your voice. I'm hearing everyone's voices, when they talk to me. So I don't know. And they like to pigeonhole us.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the labels, It's sad, just because they cannot understand my imagination,
So what's your outlet for your imagination?
Writing, one of the biggest one. Obviously writing, coming up with film ideas, TV, and speaking it. I enjoy telling stories. I've always wanted to be a I don't know, like a wayward traveler, traveling from town to town, telling stories of the gods or something, I don't know.